Look, I've been making Chinese car content long enough to know that this market is not one size fits all. China is producing some of the most exciting, most innovative, most genuinely disruptive vehicles on the planet. But here's the truth nobody wants to say. Not every Chinese car deserves your money. Some of them deserve a warning label. We're doing both sides of the story. First, the three Chinese cars I genuinely believe you should think twice about or avoid entirely. Real data, real problems. Not opinions, not vibes. And then the four Chinese cars I believe are so good they should be embarrassing Western automakers every single day they're on sale. 7 cars, both ends of the spectrum. Let's get into it. The three worst, starting with number 3, MG4 EV. The MG4 on paper, a budget EV hero. Competitive range, decent price, 5-star Euro NCAP safety. I wanted to love this car. I genuinely did. In reality, it finished dead last out of 18 electric vehicles in What Car's 2004 reliability survey with a score of just 63.8%. Last place out of 18. That is not a fluke. That is a pattern. Here's what kills me about this. The most commonly reported faults read like a bad software fever dream. Unresponsive touchscreens, Bluetooth refusing to pair after the first journey, Apple CarPlay randomly disconnecting, the climate control doing whatever it wants regardless of what you set it to. Some owners reported the infotainment screen freezing for a full hour on a road trip, an hour while driving. That is not a minor inconvenience. That is a car that refuses to function. But here's where it goes from frustrating to genuinely alarming. In 2024, the consumer watchdog, Which, identified serious safety failures with the MG4's lane keep assist system. During testing, the lane assist would actively steer the car toward oncoming traffic when navigating a narrow road. That is not a misset setting. That is the car trying to kill you. After which, published their findings, over 100 MG4 owners came forward with similar experiences. It took months of back and forth between MG, the vehicle certification agency, and the UK government before a software update was finally mandated and rolled out in February 2025. Some owners reported going back to dealers 6 times with the same unresolved faults. 6 times. You're paying mid-20, 000 to low 30, 000 for a car that has no excuse for shipping software that sends you into oncoming traffic. And some owners lost £13,000 in depreciation trying to get out of it. Bottom line, the MG4 is not a bad car when it works, but it doesn't always work. And when it doesn't, MG's support network has left too many people stranded. At this price point, you deserve better. Number 2, WM Motor EX5. Let me tell you what happened to WM Motor, because this story is going to change how you think about buying any EV from any brand that isn't financially bulletproof. WM Motor, also known as Weltmeister, was once considered one of China's most promising EV startups. Backed by serious investors, selling thousands of cars a year, the EX5 looked like a legitimate, budget-friendly SUV option. And then, in October 2023, they filed for bankruptcy. And that's when things got truly horrifying for owners. The moment the company went under, the WM Motor phone app stopped working. I am not making this up. Owners could no longer lock or unlock their cars remotely. They couldn't check charging status. They couldn't see their vehicle's mileage on the dashboard. The built-in car stereo, which required an internet connection to function, went completely dark. Around 160,000 owners globally were left holding the keys to a car that had been partially bricked by corporate failure. And here is the real lesson. These modern Chinese EVs are not just machines. They are cloud-dependent computers on wheels. When the cloud dies, the car dies with it. When the server goes offline, your car loses functionality you paid for. No company means no servers. No servers means no smart features. Meanwhile, WM's competitor BYD has deployed their own full software and server infrastructure across dozens of countries. That's the difference between an ecosystem and a gamble. And if you think repairs are an option, good luck. Song Quan, an automotive after-sales expert in China, explained it bluntly. When a Chinese NEV brand collapses, the authorized dealer network collapses immediately. No spare parts, no authorized technicians, you're paying out of pocket at a generic repair shop that has never touched your car's proprietary software. A WM Motor owner in China put it best on a review platform. The entire car system is paralyzed. I cannot log in. The entertainment system is unusable. You wrote a check for a car. What you got was a subscription to a company that no longer exists. That is unacceptable. That is fraud dressed up as innovation. Number 1. iWay's U5. I debated putting this at number 1 because calling iWay's the worst Chinese car to own feels like kicking something that is already on the floor. But the reason it's at number 1 is exactly that. Because buyers in Europe didn't know the floor was coming. iWay's made enormous promises. They claimed to be the first fully Chinese brand selling electric cars in Western Europe. They had the U5 SUV and the U6 Coupe SUV on sale across more than 10 European countries. They had a headquarters in Germany. This was supposed to be the beginning of Chinese automotive conquest in Europe. Here's the reality. In April 2000, they sold 2 cars in Germany. 2. Not 2,000. Not 200. 2 cars. In the Netherlands, they managed 86. Their cumulative global sales over years of operation barely crossed 10,000 units, which is less than a mainstream European brand sells in a slow month. During 2003, they halted production entirely due to a financial crisis. Workers went unpaid for 3 months. The CEO was replaced. Production may or may not have ever fully resumed. Industry analysts have been calling iWay's a zombie brand for nearly 2 years, kept marginally alive by restructuring and the hope of a SPAC merger in the United States that has gone nowhere. And then iWay's officially announced they were withdrawing from the Chinese market to focus on exports. Let me translate that for you. They ran out of road in the world's biggest car market, the one right outside their factory door, and they're betting everything on Europe, a continent where they sell 2 cars a month in their largest market. If you bought an iWay's U5 in Europe believing in this brand's future, I'm genuinely sorry. You are now the owner of a vehicle made by a company with no home market, a collapsed service infrastructure, no OTA update pipeline, and an existential question mark over whether the business survives to 2026. This is not a reliability problem. This is a fundamental ownership security problem. Chinese automotive professor Zhu Ixie from Tongji University said it plainly. Brands like this that fail to open the market independently cannot survive alone. They must merge, restructure, or cooperate. iWay's never did. Do not buy a car from a brand you cannot confirm will exist in 5 years. Your car needs software updates, parts, and a service network. A zombie company cannot provide any of those things. That's not a verdict. That's a warning. Okay, deep breath, because I genuinely found those 3 painful to cover. This is not the kind of content I enjoy making, but you needed to hear it. Now, here's the thing about the Chinese automotive market. The same ecosystem that produced those failures is also producing vehicles that are so good, so fast, so packed with technology and value that I have genuinely run out of ways to explain the gap between them and their Western equivalents. These 4 cars are not just good. They are the reason the European automotive industry cannot sleep at night. The 4 best. Starting with number 4. Number 4, BYD Atto 3. I'll be honest, the Atto 3 is not the flashiest car on this list. It is not going to break your brain with a 0 to 60 time. It is not going to have a Nürburgring record. What it is going to do is be there every morning functioning exactly as promised, which after the first half of this video should sound incredibly appealing. Here's what I keep coming back to. The BYD Atto 3 earned a 5-star Euro NCAP rating. It is powered by BYD's own Blade battery, a lithium iron phosphate design that passed the nail puncture test without igniting and is rated for over 5,000 charge cycles. Do the math. 5,000 charge cycles with daily charging is roughly 13 to 15 years before meaningful degradation. A Tesla Model 3 uses a different chemistry with far fewer cycle expectations. In Chinese quality studies, the BYD Atto 3 ranked joint top in its segment alongside the Ion V+, beating every Western rival in its class for initial quality metrics. And in Australia, it's been outselling established brands quarter after quarter because buyers figured out something simple. This car just works every time, at a price that makes a Volkswagen ID. 4 look like daylight robbery. If you want a Chinese EV that will be there in 10 years with a functioning app-supported parts and a manufacturer that made a $411 billion revenue year in 2024, the Atto 3 is your answer, not the most exciting car on this list. the most reliable. Sometimes that matters more. Number 3. Zeekr 001. Now we're getting into territory that should genuinely embarrass Porsche's accountants. Zeekr is Geely's premium EV sub-brand. And Geely, if you didn't know, owns Volvo, Polestar, and Lotus. So when I tell you the Zeekr 001 has Volvo safety DNA baked into its architecture, I mean that literally. This isn't badge engineering. This is shared engineering at the platform level. The Zeekr 001 is a shooting brake, part fastback, part wagon, and it is one of the most intelligently designed cars to come out of China in the past 5 years. Here's the number that stopped me cold. The 140 kWh version of the Zeekr 001 offers over 1,000 kilometers of CLTC-rated range. Real world, around 700 to 800 kilometers. The Porsche Taycan Turbo S, the flagship sports sedan from one of the greatest sports car companies in the world, tops out at under 600 kilometers of real-world range. And the Taycan costs over $100,000. The Zeekr 001 starts at around $45,000 in China, comes with air suspension, 5-star Euro NCAP rating, a Harman Kardon sound system, Matrix LED headlights, and it updated its battery performance remotely via an OTA update after delivery. An owner in Sweden described it as a Porsche Taycan alternative at half the price. I'd argue the range advantage makes it a Taycan beater, not just an alternative. This is what happens when a company that already knows how to build world-class cars decides to build an EV. Western brands have spent decades telling you that German engineering is irreplaceable. Zeekr just replaced it. Number 2. BYD Seal. Brace yourself because this is the part of the video where I need you to sit down. The BYD Seal. This is BYD's direct answer to the Tesla Model 3. And in market after market where they compete head-to-head, the Seal costs less, goes further, and in the performance version goes faster. Let me give you the numbers. The dual-motor all-wheel drive BYD Seal delivers 530 horsepower, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.8 seconds. That is supercar territory in a family sedan. It runs on 800-volt architecture, the same premium electrical system used in the Porsche Taycan and the Hyundai Ioniq 6. What does 800 volts mean in English? It means when you plug this car into a compatible fast charger, it adds 110 miles of range in 5 minutes. By the time you use the restroom and grab water, the car is ready to cross a state. WLTP range sits at 570 kilometers. Real-world buyers are consistently reporting 500 plus on a full charge. Now, here's the part that makes Western executives sweat in their sleep. In Australia, the BYD Seal Premium with that long-range battery came in at 58,798,000 Australian before on-road costs. The Tesla Model 3 long-range AWD, $61,900. The Polestar 2 standard range, $67,400. A cheaper car, more range, more power, more tech, and the blade battery underneath it passed a nail puncture test without thermal runaway, something most premium EV batteries fail. I am not exaggerating. I promise you, I am not exaggerating. If you dropped $50,000 on a Tesla Model 3 in the past 3 years, you are allowed to feel personally victimized right now. Drop a comment and tell me how you feel. Number 1. Xiaomi SU7 Ultra. What if I told you a smartphone company, a company that makes earbuds, smartwatches, and budget Android phones, built the fastest 4-door production car on the planet and sold it for $72,800? I'll wait while that lands. In June 2025, a production Xiaomi SU7 Ultra, not a prototype, not a stripped-down race car, completed a lap of the Nürburgring Nordschleife in 7 minutes 4 seconds. For context, the Porsche Taycan Turbo GT Weissach, the most extreme, most expensive Porsche Taycan ever made, ran a 7-minute 7-second lap. The Rimac Nevera, an electric hypercar, ran 7 minutes 5 seconds. The Tesla Model S Plaid, not even close. The Xiaomi SU7 Ultra beat them all. This is not a spec sheet flex. This is a verified official production car lap time that just rewrote the pecking order of the entire automotive world. The specs are genuinely insulting to the competition. 1,548 horsepower from 3 electric motors. 0 to 60 miles per hour in 1.98 seconds without rollout, which is the measurement trick other manufacturers use to inflate their numbers. Top speed 217 miles per hour. Battery charges from 10 to 80% in 11 minutes. The battery is a Cattle Keeling 2.0, 93.7 keyword hardpack running on an 897V architecture. But here's the thing I keep coming back to. This isn't just about the Ultra. The base Xiaomi SU7 in China starts at approximately $31,000. $31,000 for a car with a 435-mile CLTC range, a 16.1-inch touchscreen, a drag coefficient of 0.195, which is lower than a Porsche 911, and a design that has been described as the best-looking Chinese sedan ever made. 411,800 units were delivered in 2,205 alone. It is already outselling the Tesla Model 3 in China. And Xiaomi, listen to this. Xiaomi became profitable in the automotive sector in November 2005, 18 months after launching their first car. It took Tesla 7 years to achieve automotive profitability. Xiaomi did it in a year and a half. Most cars do performance or value. This one said, "What if we did both?" and then lapped the Nürburgring faster than a Rimac for good measure. The Porsche Taycan Turbo GT starts at around $200,000. The Xiaomi SU7 Ultra that just beat it costs $72,800. Explain that to me. Somebody explain that to me. This is not just the best Chinese car to own right now. This is the moment the automotive industry stopped being able to use the phrase Chinese quality as a punchline. That era is over. This car ended it. 3 cars that prove the Chinese market has a real accountability problem when brands collapse and leave owners stranded, and 4 cars that prove why the rest of the automotive world is absolutely right to be terrified. The lesson across all 7. This market rewards research and punishes blind faith. Buy from brands with infrastructure. Buy from brands with balance sheets. Buy from brands that will exist when your car needs a software update in 3 years. The Atto 3 gives you reliability. The Zeekr 001 gives you range and premium engineering. The BYD Seal gives you a Tesla killer at a Tesla beating price. And the Xiaomi SU7 Ultra gives you a Nürburgring record for the price of a loaded Toyota Land Cruiser. Western brands have had years to respond to this. They chose quarterly earnings reports over innovation. Someone else chose the Nürburgring, and now we're all watching. If this video made your jaw drop at any point, hit that like button right now and smash that subscribe button so you never miss another Torque Vision breakdown. Drop a comment telling me which of these 7 surprised you the most. I genuinely want to know. And ring that notification bell. This is Torque Vision. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and never stop watching.